Hi, Mike here with Badonsky Buccaneers, and this is our July 22nd, 2017 fishing report. Today my wife Cookie and I are taking our son Braxton and his friend Slade with us to get some red snapper. With scheduling conflicts and weather delays, this has been our first opportunity to fish the new extended federal red snapper season for this year. We check out a couple of spots first off, including the Lulu, where we get some return on the sonar, but the bite is slow, only pulling up smaller fish, so we don't hang around here long. Next, I decided to try a couple of the Alabama deployed super pyramids about 20 miles out. The state had several of these 25-foot tall pyramids deployed throughout their offshore reef zones a few years ago and have since added several more recently as part of their reef enrichment project. We'll take a closer look at these on Mike's tackle box later. The ones we're fishing today are so close to each other, probably only about 100 foot or so apart, I'm thinking there's a good chance there's a healthy population of fish around them. I'm also hoping that since these are only a couple years old, not a lot of anglers know about the location yet. We have a healthy current over the location, so I set up the Motor Guide XI5 anchor lock just ahead of the spot, so by the time our baits hit the bottom, they're closer to the structure. Braxton tries some artificial while Cookie and Slade drop down some fresh bonita to entice a bite with, and Slade gets the first fish on the boat. Way to go, Slade! Right behind him, Cookie gets a hit. Both Cookie and Slade are using her Shimano Dakota 600 and 800 reels on 6-foot Star Paraflex rods. These have been good combos for us, from everything from bottom fishing to light-duty trolling. They are set up with standard single-hook snapper rigs using a 150-pound mono-leader and anywhere from a 4/0 to a 7/0 circle hook. Cookie pulls up a nice red snapper here, and this one's going in the fish box for sure. Next, Braxton gets a small snapper on his Penn 706 and 8-foot Sam's Custom rod with a jig. Sorry Braxton, that one's not a keeper, son, but we'll give you an A for effort. Well, Cookie has another one on. Out of all the fish we caught here, most were over 16 inches, but I tried to keep only ones closer to 20 inches. I prefer to release the barely legal fish, giving them more time to grow, reproduce, and mature. Red snapper begin reproducing at about 2 years of age when they're about 8 inches long. But did you know that one 24-inch female can produce as many eggs as about 200 16-inch females? Cookie has a decent-sized snapper there. A few more of those and we'll have our limit. Oh my gosh, Cookie has another one on. Good going, she's on fire today. Hey, Cookie has another fish on. Did you know that a red snapper can grow to 40 inches in length and weigh up to 50 pounds and live for about 50 years? Hey, she's got a nice sized mangrove snapper there. Another one of her favorite fish. And I know what we're going to be having for dinner tonight. Oh, Slade has another nice red snapper. You better step it up though, Slade. Cookie's catching more fish than all of us guys put together today. Uh-oh, she's got another fish on. And we've only been fishing here a couple of hours, but she's caught most of our fish today. She's got to be getting tired by now. Hey, another mangrove snapper. These are also called gray snapper. She's definitely blessed today. I've barely had any time to put a pole in the water, and from the looks of it, I might not have a chance. Hey, Cookie's on again. Oh, looks like she may have met her match this time. This is a serious fish. She has the drag tightened down all the way, and he's still pulling line off the reel. This fish acts more like a shark than a snapper, grouper, or amberjack. I shut down the trolling motor and let us drift away from the pyramid so we don't get snagged up or broken off. Finally, Cookie gives up, and Braxton finishes fighting this fish to the boat. This is another time these Dakota reels really impress me. They have a good drag system, and the reel power handle upgrade reduces wrist fatigue on fights like this one. Braxton's making headway with this monster. It won't be long now, and my suspicion is confirmed. This is a good-sized sandbar shark. They're usually easily identified by the seemingly disproportionately large pectoral fins for the size of their body. Anyway, we let her go, tired but otherwise unharmed. Next, stay tuned for Mike's Tackle Box, where we talk to the guys at Walter Marine about these reef systems they deployed for the state. Hi, Mike here with Badonsky Buccaneers, and this is Mike's Tackle Box. And today we're with David Walters at Walters Marine, also known as the ReefMakers. Now today what we're going to be talking about is how you design and deploy artificial reef systems and even ships, depending on what your client wants.
That's correct.
The rules of reef making are pretty strict. You can't just go out and throw a bunch of cars in the water anymore.
No, they outlawed automobiles and a lot of those other things in 1995. And now it's pretty strict. 1/4 inch metal, they'll fudge on that a little bit. Basically, they're looking for something that's not light enough to where a current could carry it away.
You got to have special permits or permission to put those down?
And here in Alabama, I can make a phone call right now and have a permit this afternoon and go out tomorrow and build reefs. In Florida, there's a 2-week waiting period. Somebody over there has to go with you sometimes, and so it's a little different in Florida. So it's hardly ever, the private reef program's hardly ever used in Florida.
Oh, so we have a big advantage here in Alabama.
Oh yes, always have.
I understand that the reef building program started early in Alabama with a lot of the snapper charter fishermen getting together and wanting to put a bunch of cars down to help increase their productivity.
Well, you see, in 1985 or 86, nobody snapper fished. Everybody just trolled. We caught king mackerel, Spanish mackerel, anything of the pelagic type fish. They put a limit on king mackerel. First time ever they put a limit on anything in the Gulf of Mexico, and it caused widespread panic. But there was a guy named Anna that had gotten himself some Corps of Engineer permits, and he was building artificial reefs out of washing machines. Loran C wasn't even invented then, so he had to use land ranges, line up a telephone pole in a tree, and over here a chimney of a house, and a sand dune, and that's where he would build his reefs. Well, he was catching red snapper. Immediately, everybody turned to red snapper fishing. They started loading all this junk up on the back of their boats, washing machines and refrigerators, and taking them out. It got so bad that the Coast Guard sat in Alabama Point Pass and turned everybody around because it was illegal. So the fishermen went to the Alabama Dept of Conservation. They said, we need a zone out there to put our reefs in. So Alabama went to the Corps of Engineers, and there was a man there named John Wynn. God bless that man. They said, we need a little small area, maybe half a mile by half a mile, to put reefs in. And he said, would you mind if I made it a little bigger? They said, no. Well, now it's 1,200 square miles, the largest artificial reef zone in the United States. And what that did was it gave fishermen a little elbow room. You could go out there and build your own reef, knowing that there was not somebody going to build one within a half a mile. So people kind of could spread out and keep their reefs private. And I had a shipyard. I had bought a boat out of the oil fields. Didn't know what I was going to do with it. And Earl Griffiths, at the charter boat, approached me and said, would you convert that to haul junk automobiles? And that's how I got started.
I know that you've probably done a lot of reefs for people over the years, and you've done a lot of work with the state of Alabama also in deploying reef systems for the general public.
Yes, started out I built all public reefs, and then as the fishing regulations increased, people stopped buying reefs less and less. We still sell a few, but then the public reef system came into being, and so now we do mostly public reefs with tax.
Do you have any idea about how many reefs you've possibly deployed up until this point?
Over 40,000.
40,000. That's a lot of reefs. I understand that the state of Alabama continues to deploy new reefs, even kind of refurbishing some of their older reef systems.
They have. They've just ordered over $1 million worth of artificial reefs for me.
So these pyramids like this one here, they're made out of an eco-friendly material?
Well, concrete has a little bit of a pH problem. it's not pH compatible. It will eventually get pH compatible after it sits for a while. But the original habitat, the animals that come live on it, it will only tolerate the ones that can tolerate the difference in the pH. So they'll come colonize. It's kind of like somebody coming in and buying up the neighborhood, and then when somebody else wants to move in, know that there's no houses left. So Florida limestone rock is the perfect pH for the mainline. It also soften over a boring animal. So I have the only artificial reef manufactured in the world that I know of that can accommodate every animal that lives on a natural reef.
So the standard reef pyramids are typically the 8-foot, and then you also have the larger ones?
We have an 8-foot reef, which is our normal reef that we sell to the public, and we also sell a lot of this to groups. And then we have a 15-foot tall pyramid that like the 8-foot tall one weighs 8,000 pounds. The 15-foot tall one weighs 18 tons. So we get a lot heavier as they get bigger. Then we add things to the top of that. We add other types of reefs we attach to that. Complex reefs for small fish. And then we also put reefs inside them. We'll put an 8-foot reef inside another reef. And then we have other types of reefs that we sell, and all of those can be put in there.
We've seen quite a variety of fish around these particular structures on some of our videos and stuff. How do you feel that these have helped not only the economy but also the fishery around here?
Oh, there's no doubt. In the beginning, there were a group of scientists that said, you're not producing fish, you're just attracting the fish so a fisherman can kill them. And that went on for a few years, but now just about every marine scientist admits that artificial reefs increase fish stocks.
Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us today. We appreciate it, and we hope that we've helped spread some light on the artificial reef programs out here and how these things are made and deployed. If y'all have any questions, y'all come out here and talk to them and take a look around.
You're welcome. Anybody's welcome anytime. We'd love to show you around.
All right, that's Mike's Tackle Box for now. We hope y'all have a great day. God bless. Well, that wraps up another Badonsky Buccaneers video fishing report. We hope you found it entertaining as well as informative. Be sure to patronize your locally owned small businesses like visual effects, design, signs, screen printing, embroidery, and more. The Rod Room, custom rods and supplies. Sam's Stop and Shop, bait, tackle, apparel, deli, and marine fuel. Orange Beach, Alabama Vacation Rentals. Looking for vacation accommodations or a website to advertise on? Look no further. From Fort Morgan to Perdido Key, we've got you covered. BC&M Plumbing and Condo Maintenance Services. We would like to thank Walter Marine for their contribution to our video. In business since 1986, making artificial reef designs in deployment and marine salvage. Follow us on Facebook. And be sure to check out our website for marine weather, radar, live webcam, interactive maps, news, and information for the Alabama coastal angler. Be sure to report all of your Alabama landed red snapper on the Alabama Snapper Check system, available on iOS and Android platforms, as well as paper forms at most of the Alabama Conservation controlled boat ramps and Gulf Coast parks. That's all for now. Have a great day and God bless.